The hunter stood on a quiet hill overlooking a peaceful valley where his tribe lived beneath a towering green volcano. To everyone, it seemed like just another mountain. Life in the village followed its familiar rhythm. Families cooked, children played, and hunters repaired their stone tools, never imagining the dangers sleeping nearby. The hunter paused and gazed toward the mountain's summit. Its forest-covered slopes looked calm, hiding the immense power beneath. Curious, he climbed higher along the rocky hillside. Ancient trees surrounded him as the silent volcano watched over the valley without a sound. Near the slope, he discovered cracks in the stone releasing thin streams of warm steam. The strange sight made him stop and look closer. He placed his hand against the ground and felt unusual warmth beneath the rocks. The mountain seemed alive in a way he had never known. Suddenly, birds burst from the forest while frightened deer raced downhill. Nature itself sensed something the tribe could not yet understand. Looking toward the summit, the hunter noticed a faint column of gray smoke rising into the sky. The peaceful mountain no longer looked harmless. Tiny stones trembled around his feet as the earth began to shake. It was the first warning that something deep below had awakened. Returning to the village, the hunter pointed silently toward the smoking volcano. The tribe gathered together, watching the mountain with growing unease. The peaceful silence shattered as the ground shook violently beneath the village. People struggled to stand while loose stones bounced across the earth. Without warning, thousands of birds exploded into the sky above the forest. Their desperate flight signaled that danger was rapidly approaching. Mammoths, deer, wolves, and wild boars fled together through the valley. Even nature's strongest creatures wanted nothing to do with the mountain. The hunter watched deep cracks spread across the volcano while thick gray smoke poured from its summit. The mountain was no longer asleep. A deafening explosion echoed across the valley. Towering clouds of black ash erupted into the sky as the earth trembled beneath everyone. Moments later, bright orange lava appeared, flowing slowly down the mountainside. Fire itself seemed to pour from the heart of the earth. Burning rocks blasted high above the volcano before crashing back toward the forest. The terrifying eruption filled the sky with fire and smoke. Panic swept through the village as families grabbed children, tools, and supplies. The hunter shouted for everyone to run before it was too late, leading the tribe through the forest. He glanced back to see the volcano glowing bright red beneath its enormous ash cloud. Their home disappeared behind them. From a distant hill, the tribe watched in stunned silence as rivers of lava poured down every side of the mountain. They finally understood why ancient humans feared volcanoes. The hunter watched in horror as glowing rivers of lava flowed down every side of the volcano. The peaceful mountain had become a river of fire. He ran through the forest while blazing lava reached the ancient trees. Towering trunks burst into flames as thick smoke filled the air around him. Terrified mammoths, deer, wolves, and wild boars fled together through the burning valley. Survival had become the only instinct shared by every living creature. Huge burning boulders thundered down the mountainside, crushing everything in their path. The hunter narrowly escaped as fiery rocks rolled past him. Looking upward, he saw the blue sky disappear beneath enormous clouds of volcanic ash. Daylight slowly faded into strange darkness. Fine gray ash drifted through the air, covering his hair, clothing, spear, and the forest around him. Every step left deep footprints in the thick dust, leading the tribe through the burning woods. The hunter struggled to stay ahead of the advancing lava. Flames surrounded them as frightened families kept moving. The heat became almost unbearable, standing above a glowing lava river. The hunter watched shimmering waves rise from the molten rock below. From a distant hill, the tribe looked back in silence as their village disappeared beneath fire and flowing lava. Their home was gone forever, standing beneath a sky filled with ash and glowing embers. They watched the valley vanish. The volcano roared like a giant that could never be stopped. Soon, an enormous cloud of ash spread across the sky, swallowing the last traces of blue. The eruption continued even after the lava had passed. The bright sun slowly disappeared behind the thick volcanic cloud. Although it was midday, the world looked like the beginning of night. The hunter carefully walked through the dark forest, guided only by the distant glow of lava. Familiar paths had become almost impossible to recognize. Volcanic ash fell like gray snow, coating trees, rocks, and every member of the tribe. Nature itself seemed buried beneath endless dust, covering his mouth with animal hide. The hunter struggled to breathe as ash filled the air. Every breath reminded him how dangerous the eruption had become. Kneeling beside a river, he found its clear water transformed into dark gray by floating ash. Even the valley's lifeblood had changed. The forest stood silent beneath the heavy ash. Lifeless branches stretched into the darkness. While birds and animals had completely disappeared, the hunter searched desperately for food. But empty traps and abandoned nests revealed survival would become harder with every passing day. As darkness covered the land, the tribe gathered beneath a rocky shelter. Children stayed close to their families while ash continued falling outside. Looking toward the barely visible volcano through the blackened sky, the hunter wondered if daylight would ever fully return. For ancient humans, it truly felt like the end of the world. The hunter stood before the exhausted tribe and pointed toward the distant mountains. Their homeland was lost, and only the unknown offered hope for survival. Families gathered their few remaining belongings. Children, stone tools, food, and animal hide bags were carried as everyone prepared to leave forever. The hunter carefully protected a small container filled with glowing embers. Carrying fire meant carrying warmth, light, and the tribe's chance to survive. Step by step, the tribe crossed a vast plain covered with warm volcanic ash. Every footprint marked the beginning of a difficult journey. The hunter led everyone up a steep rocky cliff while glowing rivers of lava spread across the valley below. Higher ground became their only refuge. Reaching a shallow river, the tribe carefully crossed together. The hunter helped the youngest children while ash drifted across the dark water. From a distant hill, everyone stopped and looked back. Smoke, lava, and fire had completely erased the place they once called home. That night, the tribe rested beneath a rocky shelter. A small campfire burned quietly while glowing ash floated across the dark sky above them. When morning arrived, fine ash still drifted through the air. The hunter looked toward the distant horizon, determined to keep moving forward. The tribe crossed an open plain as the volcano slowly disappeared behind them. For the first time, hope seemed stronger than fear. Standing atop a grassy hill, the hunter discovered a peaceful valley filled with forests, rivers, and fresh life. At last, the journey had led somewhere safe. The tribe explored their new home together. Wild animals wandered peacefully across the valley, and the land seemed untouched by disaster. Kneeling beside a crystal-clear river, the hunter drank fresh water with relief. Clean water reminded everyone that life could begin again. Working together, the tribe built simple shelters from wood, stone, and animal hides. Their new village slowly took shape beneath the clear sky. The hunter successfully brought down a deer while other hunters helped carry the food home. The tribe finally had enough to eat again. That evening, families gathered around a warm campfire, sharing food and quiet conversation. For the first time since the eruption, they felt safe. Standing on a distant hill, the hunter saw the volcano releasing only a thin line of smoke far beyond the mountains. Its power remained, but so did the distance. Children laughed and played around the growing village while elders watched with peaceful smiles. Life slowly returned to normal once again. As the sun set, the hunter quietly looked toward the distant volcano. The memory of its destruction would never completely disappear. Standing proudly above the thriving settlement, the hunter realized humanity had survived not by defeating nature, but by learning when to leave and where to begin again. The hunter stood on a high cliff, quietly watching a thin column of smoke rising from the distant volcano. This time, he observed with caution instead of fear. Nearby, herds of mammoths, deer, and wild horses slowly moved away from the mountain. The hunter realized animals often sensed danger before humans could. He knelt and placed his hand upon the ground. Tiny stones trembled gently beneath his fingers, revealing the earth's silent warning once again. Looking toward the summit, he noticed fresh gray smoke climbing higher into the sky. The familiar signs reminded him that the mountain was never truly asleep. Returning to the village, the hunter gathered everyone together and explained the warning signs. Adults and children listened carefully to every lesson. The tribe began storing dried meat, clean water, stone tools, and firewood. Preparation became just as important as hunting or gathering food. When the warning signs appeared again, the hunter calmly led the tribe away before the eruption began. Experience had replaced panic. From a distant hillside, everyone watched another eruption unfold. Rivers of lava flowed down the mountain, but this time the tribe remained safe. That evening, the hunter drew a volcano in the dirt beside the campfire, teaching the children how to recognize danger before it arrived. As the sun rose over the peaceful valley, the hunter looked toward the distant volcano with confidence. Knowledge had become humanity's greatest protection. The volcano rested quietly beneath a bright blue sky, releasing only a thin trail of smoke. Its silence no longer brought false comfort or fear. Fresh grass, flowers, and young trees covered the old volcanic ground. Nature slowly healed the scars left by the great eruption. Wild animals returned to the fertile valley, grazing peacefully among forests that had grown from the rich volcanic soil. The tribe gathered berries, roots, and wild plants from the fertile land. The same volcano that destroyed life had also helped create new life. Children laughed and played while elders shared stories about the great eruption. The lessons of survival were passed to a new generation. Standing on a rocky overlook, the hunter peacefully watched the volcano. Respect had replaced the fear that once filled his heart. Walking through the thriving forest, the tribe admired the rich land created by ancient eruptions. Even destruction could become the beginning of renewal. As the sun began to set, the hunter taught young children by drawing the volcano and safe escape routes in the soil beside the village. The entire tribe stood together on a high cliff, looking across the peaceful valley toward the distant mountain. They understood its power would always remain. Standing alone beneath the golden sunrise, the hunter smiled quietly at the silent volcano. Ancient humans survived not by conquering nature, but by respecting its power and learning from every warning it gave.